Welcome to Tuesday 10 Talk. And if you know my voice, if you think you know my voice, you may have heard my voice. I have a podcast called Tweet Talk, where I take my tweets and give them out to you and talk to you a little bit about life in general and what's going on and offer some questions for you to answer and to think about and really kind of groove on and maybe pass along to your friends. Now, this is the first of maybe many, hopefully many. We'll see how it goes, but I'm offering up a 10-minute opportunity for me to throw usually one, maybe two concepts at you and just have you think about it and talk, respond in whatever way you want, but just giving you the opportunity to put something out there that's going on out in our world today. Now, today's topic, the first topic anyway, probably the one topic I'm going to get to is sports and bringing back sports in the United States in the day of coronavirus, as we are still hot on the virus. The virus is not going away, and we are still trying to make light of what's going on. Over in Europe, it's kind of ebbing and flowing. It's winding its way down in some countries, some not. But they've managed, particularly in the world of soccer, they have managed to finish out their seasons as early back up as June 1st. And most, as far as European soccers go, most of the leagues have just wrapped up their seasons and are finishing and preparing for the stuff afterwards. But in terms of how they did with coronavirus, they were relatively minor cases, small number of cases, nothing to really cause concern. Not everybody, only one club, one country, the Bundesliga, did the bubble where they had all their players in the same hotels, in the same little bubble as we're calling it. And it seemed to go very well, staying close to regulations and not having a lot of people in the stadium, if at all. Spain and England didn't do the bubble. They did have some cases. Mostly the cases were less than 10 in terms of the Premier League and the Championship League, the two main leagues in England anyway, that played to finish out their seasons. And it stayed that way mostly throughout the contest, the 40 days of playing soccer. Not many cases, if at all. Now, back here in the United States, we have soccer was one of the first out of the gates, both women's and men's soccer. They did the big bubble. They had tournaments still going on, and they did the big Disney bubble, or the Women's Soccer League did a bubble out in the Midwest. And so far, if women came and went, they finished their tournament, they finished their season, and did not have any problems, did not have a single case. Not finish their season, but they finished their tournament. Congrats to Houston, actually. So that was shown it can be done. The men's team, they did have a team test before they came to the tournament. And so they didn't play, they didn't show up. And of course, the groups had to be refigured, but then on goes the tournament. And so far, so good. No problems, no real problems there in terms of any coronavirus cases. NHL is about to start and get going. They too have done the bubble, except they're not playing here in the United States. Why? Because our country is too infectious. So they're playing their little season tournament all the way up to the September hoisting of the trophy in Canada. But again, they're still doing the bubbles. They're still doing the groups where they are only allowed to be with each other and their teams and seeing how that went. So far, so good. Now, Premier League, lacrosse, same thing. They have a 2-week tournament for their season. Just started this past weekend. And again, the bubble, creating that bubble. So far, so good. We'll see what happens. Then we get to baseball. Baseball, we all want baseball back. Baseball is America's pastime, one of the summer rituals of sports and watching sports, whether it's on the TV, whether it's at the stadium cheering on your favorite players. And we all want it back. The players took a long time to negotiate the deal and what it meant to get back on the field. And they didn't do the bubble. They didn't do self-isolation, self-quarantine. And so now, yesterday, over the weekend, the Miami Marlins, 14 members, including players and staff, have contracted the virus, basically cutting out half their team. And so the game yesterday was canceled, and still waiting on word what games will be able to be played. And this happened in Philadelphia. So Philadelphia, the game against the Yankees yesterday, canceled. And we'll see what happens with the team, whether they're able to field a team, whether they pull from their minor league team, and see if there's any ripple effects with the other teams that may have already played. Now, that begs the question, what do we do with Major League? Do we shut it down? Is this a perfect example of we're just not ready yet? We're not ready to have close pro contact sports if we're not going to do the bubble, if they're just going to do their own thing and not have it. Do we shut Major League Baseball down? Do we take a break and let the Marlins go through the quarantine, get better, be able to play, get physically cleared to play, and then we start again? Or do the Marlins go home? And are they out of the games and the seasons? Or obviously if we allow them to come back, when I say we, I'm talking about Major League Baseball. But do we let them go get healthy, go get rid of the virus, come back as a team? Obviously, it likely puts them out of contention for postseason, but it does allow them to play. It does allow the players to play. All these things. What would you do? If you were Major League Baseball commissioner right now, what would you do? Would you play on? Would you allow it to continue? Those are some big questions. Now, because these guys have not quarantined, they're going home. They may be interacting with family members. And so they're possibly unknown. There could be a number of asymptomatic people right now, players that aren't showing anything and possibly spreading it. So we want to get back to our sports. We want our sports back, but what do? And we want to get rid of this virus. We want it out of our country. I know we all do. I know I do. And so do we sacrifice baseball right now in order to help us get to where we need to be as a country and get us out of here? It's a very good question. Very good questions to put to people, and no one has all the answers. And unfortunately, this virus, there's still not a lot of folks that have all the answers. And it's not one person, it's not a group, and there's a lack of trust on both sides of the fence. So where do you begin? Where do you go? It's a tricky slope. And then, well, what about football? Football is a closer contact sport than is baseball. NBA, the NBA is about to start day 2 of and doing the bubbles for weeks, training for weeks, doing the bubble. We hope that the same situation and the same result of all the other teams and sports that have been doing the bubble is the result of what happens in the NBA, that there's little to no cases. But the NFL is not going to do the bubble. They're eliminating training. There's no preseason. But there's still players on a team that at the end of the day are going to go home. They're going to go do what they do when they're not playing football. And they're closer contact than other sports. And the risk is higher. So what now do you do if you were the NFL commissioner? Very tough, very kind of interesting kind of connotations and thoughts and pressures on everybody, because yes, there's a huge amount of money riding on baseball being played, the NFL being played. I mean, they're talking about putting people in the stands. That discussion is still there. And if it's not safe for the players, is it safe for fans to be in the stands? You already have NASCAR. NASCAR is back, and they have started allowing a good number of fans in the stands not wearing masks. And so we'll see if there's any effects of that. Though probably not likely to be no. So again, it's all these things are coming into place. We want our sports. Yes, we do. But what's more important now is getting rid of the virus and getting out of our country so folks can go back to work, folks can go back to school, and then we can have our sports? Or do we let it just go as is, and what happens, happens? People get it, they get it. Let me know what your thoughts are. I hope you like this first of many Tuesday 10 Talk. 10 minutes of me throwing something at you to think about, to talk about, and to explore. I'll see you next time. And if you want more, check out my podcast, Tweet Talk, wherever you listen to podcasts. Have a great day. Be safe. And please wear your mask. Cheers.